Day of Integrated Chemistry Physics with me, Mr. Lin. You should be in your Integrated Physics or ICP Canvas course. And if you look down, you should see the scientific method packet. We need to download that. So I'm going to click there, and you should click download the packet. Now it says PDF, but what we have done here is when you download it, there should be some text boxes down here in the notes section. So make sure you are still taking notes as we go through this. So just keep that in mind. So the actual notes, let's go to the actual notes. We are talking about lab basics, safety, and equipment today. We're not going to go through all of this, but we're going to get through, if you look on your notes, down to glassware is where we're going to stop. So we're going to start with the general guidelines. So this is all about lab safety though. We will be spending a lot of time doing labs together. So it is very important that you know how to act appropriately. This is so that you don't get hurt, you don't hurt someone else, or you don't damage anything. Those are key things here. So some general guidelines. Every time you get a lab, read the lab all the way through before doing anything else. So you definitely need to read lab through all the way before doing anything else in your notes. It should be right underneath general guidelines. It's a good spot to put that. Keep lab table or desk neat and organized to avoid spilling or breaking anything while working. So again, you're going to want to write that in your notes. But if you come back and look at my desk is not a very good example of this, but I won't be doing any labs on my desk. The desk I will be using will always be completely clean, except for what I am doing the lab, or what I'm using to do the lab with. So keep that in mind. You're going to want to make sure everything is clean. This is just so that you don't knock something over on accident. I mean, I've been there where I've knocked over something on accident and caused a little bit of a spill. We don't really want any spills here. In case of emergency, always tell the teacher before doing anything else. So you will want to write that down in your general guidelines still. This is anything at all. It could be, hey, my thermometer is got a crack in it, or hey, I see a spill right here, or I spilled something. Does not matter. Let me know, and I can tell you the proper way to clean it and take care of it. So take lab seriously. Never goof around. So like this guy right here, it's a no-go. Do not goof around in the lab. Again, that leads to bumping. You never know with some of the chemicals that we have. If you mix them and you spill them together, it could lead to disastrous results. So please, please, please be careful in lab. Do not goof around. And when in doubt, ask the teacher. So always ask me if you have any questions. Could be about anything in general. So now the lab safety equipment, we're past the general guidelines, we're down to equipment. You notice there are 3 things here. Going from the top here, this first thing, that would be your safety goggles. So you're going to want to write down safety goggles, and they are to protect your eyes. So make sure you have down that safety goggles are to protect your eyes. Now with safety goggles, those are something that I'm going to probably ask you guys to wear in every lab. I don't care if it's a dangerous lab or not. We could be using water, and it's just water and plastic or something like that, which there might be a lab like that. But if we're just using that, I still want you to get in the habit of always wearing your safety goggles. So I have plenty here, so I will make sure that they are readily available. The next thing here This is, oh, sorry, these do stay on even through cleanup. The next thing here is the lab apron. Apron, sorry, I gotta speak correctly, don't I? Lab apron. This is where are worn to protect clothing. So you know that cool shirt that you're wearing that day in lab. If you don't want to get anything on it, you may want to wear a lab apron. I don't know if I have very many lab aprons, so you may have to be wary of that. And this last thing down here is heat-resistant gloves. I do have one pair of heat-resistant gloves, so you're going to have to be sharing those, but these are used when using hot objects to avoid burning yourself, so you don't want to burn yourself here. So you should have all of those notes down under equipment. And then lab safety for a fire. So what happens if there is a fire? So to prevent fires, never walk away from an open flame or a plugged-in hot plate. I do have something called a Bunsen burner here that will produce an open flame. Please be careful of that. I will show you how to, like the first time we use them, I will show you how to light the Bunsen burners and how to properly extinguish them as well. So please do not walk away from those. Do not reach over them. So keep hair tied back when working in a lab. You never know. You might turn your head sideways or something and your hair gets caught in the open flame. It's not ideal, and burning hair is not the best smelling, so let's try and keep that hair back. Do not wear loose clothing or jewelry. Again, that's if you reach over an open flame. Hopefully you don't ever reach over an open flame, but if you do and you have loose clothing or that loose jewelry could catch fire or could get heated up in the Bunsen burner or the open flame, and that is never ideal. And we do have a couple different fire extinguishers in my room. I will show you where those are when we actually come back to school. But a fire extinguisher can be used to put out fires. Remember the PASS acronym. PASS stands for pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. So that is what PASS stands for. I'm not going to have you guys try this. That is something that will hopefully you won't have to do, but if it ever arises, at least you know pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. And a fire blanket is the best to use when a person is on fire. So say your buddy, your lab partner catches on fire. I would not recommend using the fire extinguisher. I would recommend getting the fire blanket out. And I do have a fire blanket in my room it is very close to the lab. So that would be the fire section. Chemicals is the next section. So no eating and drinking in the lab. I do not want to ever see you guys have food or drink in the lab area. The only drink I will let you guys have is a water. If you have anything other than water, I'm going to probably tell you to take it back to your locker or don't bring it to class. Food, we are in class. This is before lunch, so you should be about ready to go to lunch at that time. So hopefully you are not eating anything and you're ready to go. Don't ever taste a chemical. The only science that I know of where they can actually taste the chemicals is geology. We are not doing geology. This is physics and chemistry. And with that, we do deal with some poisons. And if you poison yourself, that's not going to be ideal. You don't know the damage that could cause, so do not taste anything. And when smelling, make sure to waft. I will show you how to waft. On the first time, do not smell anything directly. I've actually had a professor in college who did not waft, and in the process he burnt the nerve endings or destroyed the nerve endings in his nose, so he cannot smell anymore. And when you can't smell, not only do you can you not smell things, but it's also going to make things taste much more bland, in case you didn't know. So please make sure you only waft. Wear gloves when handling toxic chemicals. I do have lab gloves that you can borrow or use. Not really borrow because I don't want them back, but you can use them when you're dealing with these toxic chemicals. This will protect you and you won't have to worry as much. Always dispose of chemicals correctly. So I will tell you how to dispose them. Do not just pour them down the sink. There are certain chemicals that we cannot pour down the sink. And tell me if you spill anything. That goes back to the general safety rules. Anything minor, please tell me. And if you get a chemical on yourself, if it's on your hands, go wash your hands. If it's something where it gets in your eyes, you're going to be using an eye wash station. My eye wash station is right underneath a shower. There is also a safety shower, so if you get chemicals all over you, I'm going to tell you to go right for that shower and go. So, yeah, that is lab safety chemicals. The last thing here is glassware. Hot glass looks just like cold glass. So if I told you one of these was hot, these glasses in this picture, one of these is a hot glass, you will not be able to tell that. Be careful and always use the safety equipment to handle. I have something called beaker tongs. They fit around these beakers very easily, and it's much easier to transport those with the beaker tongs, especially if it's hot. Broken glass goes into a special disposal, not the trash can. Please do not dispose of these in the trash can. So the reason for that is if the janitor or myself or someone else is going to empty the trash and they get cut by something, that some of that chemical could still be on that broken glass, and so that could cause damage to them, not just from the cut, but also some of that chemical could be in their bloodstream and be poisonous to them. So notify me if your glassware is cracked before using it. Cracks are more likely, or cracks in glassware are more likely to cause the glassware to break. And lastly, closed-toed shoes and long pants are the safest attire for working in lab. This dude right here, yes, he does have closed-toed shoes and he has long pants on. You can see his jeans come all the way down. The only thing I don't like is that his shoes are untied. If you have untied shoes, you're more likely to trip and fall, and we don't really want to trip and fall in class. So make sure your shoes are tied as well. That is it for today. So have a good rest of the day.